Should have been I Will Always Love You from Whitney Houston, but hey guys, back then, like some years ago, I would have been way too insecure to do something that ridiculous in front of the camera.
I still am, I don't want to do this in front of the camera.
In YouTube, in Facebook or whatsoever, but now as I worked on myself and I gained a lot of self-confidence, I couldn't care less actually, because I'm proud of myself and I love myself. And
so watch this video and you're gonna be able to do in
front of camera. So watch this video and learn how to be self-confident yourself and not care what other people think about you.
I want to be like you, I want to
I know! I want to.
So let me start with a story that changed my life. I was in high school in the last year. I was one of the students who were the most afraid of going in front of the class. I was the most afraid of speaking up when I wanted to say something. I didn't want to raise my hand. I didn't want to make questions. I didn't want to be a volunteer for something because this for me was simply and honestly too much. I was a really good athlete at the time. I was throwing hammer and so on, and this was actually where I felt really good about myself. But in school, if there were my schoolmates, I couldn't really go in front of them and feel comfortable at all. One of my teachers said to me at one point, after I've been in front of the class, said, "Matej, you know what? Good, okay, you did this part, okay, but let me give you an advice." And she said, "Never find a job where you're gonna have to speak with people." So then maybe a year or two later, I was working for some company where I had to speak with people and sell them the insurance or investigation for the future. And not only that, this company had a multi-level marketing, which means that I had to invite more people on board to work with me or for me, let's say, so I can earn more money, more passive money, and they can do the same for the rest. And in this way, I was still very frightened to invite people. I was still very frightened to lecture because this was a big part of this job. And I remember specifically one event. I was in a room full of people, let's say it was like 50-60 people, but like a small place. They were all very good sellers. They were all in like ties, they were like really nicely presented, they earned a lot of money. And I remember specifically how afraid I was to raise my hand, or maybe how afraid I was if they're gonna ask me something, or if they want some volunteer, I would never say yes, I'm gonna go there and so on. And this feeling inside was like terrible because I felt like I was trapped in my own body. I couldn't be myself. I was just like, oh my god, and I felt terrible and I hated, I don't use this word often, but I hated the feeling of being afraid. And what I did is actually very, very interesting, and this changed my life completely. So I decided next time they're gonna say if there is any volunteer or somewhere, I'm gonna raise my hand. Next time they're gonna ask, oh, does anyone has any question? I'm gonna raise my hand, even if I don't have a question. I'm gonna go and do this. And I knew this will happen. And this was every Monday. And when this moment came, I remember specifically, I didn't eat like one day before because I was like, I don't feel so good. I was shaking also. I couldn't even sleep. And the next day when I get to this place, I knew I'm gonna do this because I decided I don't like this and I don't want this. What I did was that whenever they asked who is gonna be a volunteer for this, I raised my hand. This was the hardest thing to do because I remember specifically I couldn't raise my hand. I was like, I just did it. And next time again, and I did this 2 times, 3 times. When you do this couple of times, you are fucking free. You can do whatever you want, because then I was like almost easy after a couple of times, because you gain some strength, you gain some muscle. The courage is the muscle. This is not something you are born with. The courage is something when you go over your fears, when you do the things that are hard for you and you go over this. Actually, in a few weeks, I was lecturing there the main groups with new people, which was like even more than 60 people. When they came for the first time, the most important part, it was mine and my friends. So we do this together in a big way with the motivational speaking and everything, and I did this for several months. So again, a lot of strength in that way.
It's very important for me to share my story because I get so many messages after every protest I do or every public speak I do that it's amazing how confident I am, that I'm a born public speaker, how I'm doing this, and I was nothing like this before, and I changed so much in the last 2 years, and I want to show you guys that everyone can be confident, because if I did these huge steps, then I'm sure that you will do them as well. Let me give you an example. I remember in school, oh my god, when I had to hold a 5-minute presentation in front of the class, I got nervous. I wasn't able to do it. I dealt with a lot of mobbing, and going in front of people and saying something was the worst for me. And I remember one example in particular when I was in the bus. It's maybe, I don't know, 4 years ago. I went to work and I saw 2 girls looking at me, and my hair can get very fast greasy, and I was thinking, are they watching me because my hair is greasy or because of my pimples, or I don't know my style, what's the problem? I got so insecure because of these two girls watching me. And I wanted to ask them, what the problem is, but I couldn't. Going to two strangers was such a difficult thing to do because I was afraid what they might think of me that, I blocked my way so often and I couldn't go far so often just because of these insecurities. So actually for me, things began to change when I became an animal rights activist, believe it or not.
And the second story is actually about how to approach girls. I was really afraid of get to the girls, especially the ones that I really like, and I would never do this because it was like, oh, too uncomfortable, that what they will say, maybe I'm gonna ruin the friendship, this BS that we tell to ourselves, especially guys. What I did was, I was actually talking to one of my role models. He was like a millionaire, he was like really smart, he had a really good advice and so on. And we were talking one-on-one at some point, and he told me that, what I did when I was younger was that I just went to the girl that I liked and I said to her, I like you. Do you like me? And that's it. I was like, what? How can you do this? How can you say this to a girl? I mean, this is crazy. I know that maybe you did this, but I cannot. This is exactly what I did. Why? Because I said to myself, okay, I'm afraid of this, I don't want to be afraid, I want to go over this thing. And what I did was that I went to the girl that I really liked for some time, and I was like, really, I was afraid, I couldn't even swallow because it was like a big thing in my throat, and I was like really shaking and sweating. But the point is, I did it. I went there, I said, I like you. I don't know how to say it, but do you like me? And she said yes. It was cool, okay, but then maybe 2 months later someone else said no and so on. But who cares, the point is I did this. And no matter what is the result, even if she said yes, she said no, whatever, you did this to yourself, and when you do these things, your muscle, your courage grows.
I was touring 3 months with the Safe Movement, which is an animal rights organization, organizing vigils in front of slaughterhouses, but as well climate and health protests for the animals. And I had the opportunity to travel 3 months with them. To share my knowledge, to win people for campaigns, for protests, and so on. And I remember the first workshop was terrible. It was in front of 2 people, and I was so nervous I could barely speak, and I really thought, this is not going to work out. I'm not the right person for it. When now people think that I'm an amazing public speaker and I'm fearless. And during these 3 months I had to get so often out of my comfort zone, and I did it for the animals. For myself, I'm not sure if I would have done it, because I was sure that I'm not pretty, because I was sure that I'm an ugly person. I have no skills, I'm stupid, no one wants to be my friends, because this is what happened in school with the mobbing, but during this tour I had to. If I didn't take the megaphone and spoke up for the animals, no one would have done it. If I wouldn't have body painted my body with fake blood and went on the streets, no one else would have done it, and that's why I did it for the animals. When I thought about them, I forgot my insecurities for a second.
So my third story is actually very connected to activism. When I became vegan, I immediately felt that I need to do something, I need to speak up for the animals, and I really wanted to help. And what we did was that we gathered like a couple of friends, and we did a project named Zgodba Vegano, which means stories of the vegans. We filmed 100 people, why they became vegan, how they became vegan, how they deal with the society and so on. So it was actually inspiration for a lot of people to watch. So we were filming these stories about these people like every week, and there were many people who come and goes, but I never wanted to be part of this. I just wanted to be in the background. And of course, eventually I did this story and overcome my fears, and I presented myself also in these stories and talk about why I became vegan and why this is important for everyone else to do it. And later on, a few months later, I remember we went to some farm. It was Christmas time, and we wanted to do something special, but it was not the right timing. It was almost night already. It was like, okay, I don't know what to do, let's just go home. But I said, let's just try and do some live video on Facebook about this topic, what we see here, and let's share this to people. And this was very hard for me to do because I never did live. I didn't want to expose myself and so on, but I said, I think it's important, I think it's necessary, and I did this on my personal profile. And I went live in front of bulls who were just like in the mud. They were like in terrible conditions. They couldn't even walk, but I knew that they're gonna be dead in a few days because of Christmas time and everything, And I just went live, show these pics, talk about the life, and tell them that this is actually terrible, how I felt about it, and what I believe, that people also believe, about animals not being harmed and so on, but they still pay this. So this video went viral, of course not very viral, but it was like, 35,000 views. And I was like, okay, this is cool, although I got a lot of bad comments, negative comments, even like comments where the people told me that they're gonna kill me or whatever. This is really weird in Slovenia. But the point is, I overcame this fear, and because of this, I felt, okay, I guess, even though this is actually huge load of bullshit on myself, if I overcome this, we can reach a lot of people. In the next few months and years, we developed the system where we went live quite often, and we showed people what happens in the animal industry and why they should not support these kind of things. And let me tell you that in Slovenia, where we have 2 million people, only with one action, we reached only on Facebook 500,000 of people, which is quarter of Slovenia, only Facebook, but we were like also in national TV, on commercial TVs and stuff like that, with one action. My point is, if you overcome your fears, if you believe in yourself, and if you do the things that you're afraid of, and you know why, then nothing can stop you. And I wish that to everyone who's watching right now, that you can actually overcome your fears, go out of your comfort zone and become stronger and fucking courageous for the animals, and first for yourself, because first you need to be courageous for yourself, and when you're strong for yourself, then you can speak up for other people and other animals. And this is what I wish for this community to do, because in that way we can be strong as fuck, and we can stop this nonsense, this violence, and these murders that happens every day because of nothing. There's not a good reason not to be vegan.
Mostly I remember when I went, I saw that people like what I do. I saw that people admire me for what I do, and I began to be more confident. And I actually remember that I finished this tour with a workshop, a 6-hour workshop about non-violent direct action in front of, I think, 22 people, and they were amazed. They were so motivated to do direct action, to get arrested for the animals because of my workshop. The person who was afraid to do a 1-hour workshop in front of 2 people could do a 6-hour workshop in front of over 20 people, and this was definitely a milestone for me, and I have really seen, if you want to, you can. So, and even nowadays sometimes I get nervous. Even if I look like this strong and fearless person, I might get nervous. I remember the last protest I did in a supermarket with a dead chicken. Before starting to speak, I was hella nervous. But then when I started and I went out of my comfort zone, I did it. I spoke in front of these people, in front of the camera, in front of the media. I forgot everything, I just thought about the animals. Everything became so easy. So I really think it's important to not think what people around you think about you, if they have a good opinion about you, or if they find you ridiculous, because many people find me ridiculous and my actions. But what matters is that you are proud of who you are, that you are happy when you look in the mirror, because when you're in the bed, when you're 90 years old about to die, the people who influenced your actions, they don't care about you anymore. But you might regret the things you didn't do because you were afraid of not pleasing people. And this is so important to keep in your mind, because you're the author of your life, and if you don't write the story that you like, you will be unhappy for your whole life. And one thing that is so amazing, I can say I'm fucking proud to be who I am. Today I found a new person being willing to invest for me as an activist, and this person just took $500 out of his pocket and put it in my hands, and I was so proud that I'm able to touch people, that I'm able to change people. And if I can, then you can as well. Because as you heard, 2 years ago I was one of the most insecure persons that I know, and now I get over my fears because I know I'm the most important person in my life, and I need to be happy with my choices and with what I'm saying and what I'm doing.
Let's see. You want to do this with Chandler?
Anyway, good, you can have Chandler.
We can see each other. We believe this video got a lot of inspiration for you guys, because we were speaking from our hearts, and because we were speaking from our experience. And what I meant to say is that if you're not self-confident, this is not because you were not born with this. It's because you didn't train for this. You have to train like you train for the muscles. You have to train like you train for your sports activities, or maybe for your job. So if you don't train your muscle, your strength, your courage, you're not gonna get self-confident.
I really believe that you could see this in this video very well with the stories of Matej and me, how we changed during the years, and even me in such a short period of time, how I became very self-confident from being such an insecure person. And as I said, if I can do it, you can do this as well. You have to work for it and to believe in yourself.
So if you got some value from this video, subscribe, like the video, and share it around so other people can get some value out of it too. And remember, if you want to change the world, you first have to change yourself. Cheers.
This is for Mike.
Mike.
Hey, Mike.